This book changed my brain chemistry forever. Today, we are talking about a super outdated book, but a series that honestly started and nurtured and just made my romance novel obsession really blossom. Today, we are talking about the one, the only, Thoughtless by S.C. Stevens. And Kellen Kyle? Like 100% my type. Hot and awesome. I will settle for nothing less. So to get started, we have to talk about Kira because this book, it is completely from Kira's perspective. Kira is obviously a very quiet, a very shy, sort of a more self-conscious individual. And it talks about how she's pretty hesitant. She uses her boyfriend, Denny, as sort of like a safety blanket, right? So she's not necessarily super confident in herself. And she feels the need to feel safe, right? She wants to feel safe. And Denny is a very safe person. Denny is a very, he's a gentle person. He's a dependable person. He's, right? He is safe. He is the definition of safe. We love Denny. While she obviously does end up having an affair with Kellen because the boy's just asking for it, I'm sorry. She does end up having an affair with Kellen. She retains those characteristics. She doesn't become somebody else simply because she's around Kellen Kyle, okay? A lot of times what I see in female characters in books and in different stories is that, they start off as, oh, I'm just little old me, right? I'm just mousy little lady and I'm super shy and everything like that. And then they meet a hot guy and they become some sleazy bombshell, right? Not Kira. She always, throughout the story, she remains a very gentle person, a more subtle person, a little bit more mild and very reserved person. And I really like that Kira has consistency, okay? I feel like that makes her more believable because sometimes whenever it's whenever I'm with him, I just feel unleashed. It's what? Obviously, when her and Kellen are together, there's fire there, right? That's how the entire affair started. But it's not like he changes who she is. He basically just helps her be more confident, right? He is somebody that makes her feel confident. He is somebody that makes her feel beautiful. That is what he is. He does not change who she is, okay? She doesn't become this different person because she is with him. She maintains that same character. And I think that really helps the story be more believable. Now, the affair, we all know, affairs are shady. Fictional or non-fictional affairs are shady. And I don't think most people go into life thinking, oh, I'm going to go and have an affair, right? I don't think that's what most people are thinking, man or woman. And this affair, it's obviously written as very steamy, very sexual, very fiery. It's a very hot affair, but it's never written as if it were right. And I really did appreciate that about this book. Sometimes I feel like in romance novels, we sort of romanticize affairs. We sort of look at affairs and we say, oh, but they're just so in love, so it's okay. No, this was not okay, right? This was not okay. Kellen and Kira obviously have feelings for each other. It's undeniable, okay? From the beginning, we know, Kellen and Kira are going to end up together. But we also see how wonderful Denny is. And they know how wonderful Denny is. And they love Denny. And they know that what they are doing is wrong. And that it's a betrayal. It's a betrayal to Denny, right? Because Denny is one of Kellen's best friends. And Denny is obviously Kira's boyfriend. So there's this massive betrayal happening and they are well aware of it. And they feel ashamed, okay? It isn't, we're in love, so it's okay. No, this is wrong. We should not be doing this. There's a hair in my eyeball. The entire time, there is complete awareness of how wrong the affair is. And they don't escape consequences, okay? There is a consequence for the fact that they did betray Denny. And there's a consequence between them that they betrayed Denny. There's a consequence. There's a massive consequence for them for betraying Denny, for having the affair. Yes, the affair, right? It sort of unlocked the fact that, oh, wow, we actually really like each other and we care about each other. But it was never written as if this is okay and this is plausible. No, this is not okay. This is not okay. This is wrong, right? This is wrong. And I really liked that dose of reality. I liked that dose of reality because once again, I felt like it made the story more believable and it made the story more real. Yes, this is still a romance novel, yes, we're still talking about a rock Adonis right here, it is still believable because of just the reality check, right? The dose of reality, the reality of the situation, the reality of the relationship. It was all, I liked that. Now, Kellen, I'm sorry, but like this man, he's just set the bar so high. Obviously, Kellen Kyle is a hoe, right? Kellen is sleazy, he's a womanizer, he's sleeping around, he's all of those things. He is 100% a man whore, okay? But I absolutely adore his casual presence, his very comfortable presence, right? Yes, he is beautiful, right? He's beautiful. He's just this gorgeous man, but he has this casual presence it's like, yes, you're very attractive, but you're also really easy to be around. I loved that. Dream man right there. We love the steamy parts. Who doesn't love the steamy parts? But I fell in love with Kellen Kyle when it was all like the casual conversation, right? Just the conversation between him and other people, between him and Kira, between all of the casual conversation, I absolutely adored because he has this genuine sense of humor. He obviously adores Kira and he wants to take care of Kira. He wants to take care of her and keep her safe. And yes, he is like a total and complete jerk to her several times throughout the book, but it does stem from a very genuine place with him. And it stems from very genuine hurt. And I think that's what I really like about the story as a whole, is how real and genuine it feels, right? It doesn't feel like we're romanticizing things that are wrong. It doesn't feel like we're shooting for something that's super unattainable. It all feels like this is down to earth, right? Like, yes, it's still a romance novel and there's still a lot of parts of it that it's like, okay, yeah, like in your dreams, ladies. But there's this very simple aspect of it, and there's this very simple element of it, and this very genuine element of it, and a very genuine element of Kellen that I think makes it very real feeling, right? It feels like, yes, Kellen is a very attractive person, but it doesn't feel like he's like an imaginary person, right? It's not like billionaire romances where it's like, yeah, this person does not exist. It literally feels like, yeah, he exists. In some place in this world, he exists, right? And the relationship feels very real just because of how friendly it is and how genuine it is. I do want to talk a little bit about not a lot of it, right? Because this is the entirety of the story, is the relationship itself, okay? The relationship between Kellen and Kira. They hurt each other, okay? They are hurting each other. It is not because they are toxic, bad people, okay? I feel like I've read a lot of stories where it's like, oh, the guy is this super angry person and the girl is this fiery bombshell, and they get under each other's skin so much and they just make each other so mad and they're just angry people and that's what draws them together. Like, I don't know. I'm just not attracted to angry people. Kellen and Kira are not angry people. They are very genuine people who end up hurting each other because they've put each other in this really bad position, okay? And it isn't like Kira is innocent, okay? It isn't like Kellen is made out to be this villain man. They are both villains in this situation because of like their betrayal of Denny. They are both villains. They are both the bad guy in this situation, which I really appreciated, okay? Because sometimes it's like very one-sided where it's, oh, the guy is doing all the bad things and the girl is just this innocent little angel over in the corner, just minding her own. No, like he's teasing, she's teasing, and it's right. They're both hurting. They're both hurting each other. They're both trying to get back at each other. They're both doing it. And so there isn't any one-sidedness to the relationship during the entire affair. It is like very two-sided. It is very like equal parts are responsible for this. And I think that's also where the genuine friendship came from. That's where the friendship came from because they talk, they laugh. Kellen makes Kira feel really like, obviously she's sort of uncomfortable with him at first because he's so beautiful and he's so like, wow, like you're incredible and you're insane. But he's such a personable person that they end up becoming friends, right? And they are talking and they are spending time together. And it's not just, oh, this lust-driven relationship. It is like, it starts as we're friends. We are genuinely friends here. And I feel like I loved that, okay? I loved the fact that they were actually friends. They were actually talking. They were actually joking around. They were actually having fun. Sometimes when we read romance novels, what we see is like they start making these declarations about how it's like, oh, well, like, you're my best friend. And it's like, all of the history that I've seen with the two of you together, you're arguing, you're being somewhat manipulative to each other, you're, right? Like, there's nothing friendship based here, right? Friendship is like teasing and sort of like, right? Like, that's friendship, right? Is this buddy feeling, like we're buddies. And yes, we're lovers, but we're buddies as well, right? And a lot of times in novels, I do not feel that. They act like, oh yeah, we're besties, but it's like, no, you guys are just toxic for each other and you shouldn't be around each other at all. With Kellen and Kira, they are buddies, they're friends, they're pals, right? They are spending time with each other and they are genuinely building a relationship that starts off that it's not fueled with sensuality at all. There's like no sensuality in the beginning. It is literally just, we're hanging out. Right? We're hanging out and we're friends. And so while, yes, I loved that connection and I loved that, like, the actual relationship there, I also feel like that's how I was able to feel connected to the characters. Because sometimes, once again, with romance novels, when everything is just fueled by this passion, right? And there's no friendship, I don't always feel like I've connected with them. I don't always feel like, oh, I know these people. No, I just feel like, well, I know you on a passion-based level, but I don't actually know you. Like, you have no characteristic beyond, oh, you're sensual, right? Like, there's nothing that I can say about you. With Kellen, with Kira, it's like, I know these people. I know who they are because we've had conversation. We've been talking, we've been joking, we've been laughing, we've been having conversations, we've done things together, right? There's this background that's been developed, and I appreciate that so much. I love that. And I also feel like there is a lot of connection that is built with the setting. Once again, this is not a billionaire romance, okay? This is not oh, I got swept off my feet, okay? This is not a situation where it's like Kira just stumbles upon a position where she's, working for some billionaire and then they fall in love, as if that would happen. This feels very attainable. It feels very attainable, right? Oh, well, my boyfriend got an internship in Seattle and I decided to move with him, so I went to Seattle, and he's got a buddy who lives in Seattle, so we moved into his house with him, and his buddy, like, is in a band, right? He's really good looking and he's in a band. Like, all of these things are completely plausible, okay? I know several people who are in bands. I know several people who are in rock bands. I know several beautiful people who are in rock bands. So this is not impossible, right? This is not impossible. This is not something where it's like, yeah, this would not happen in like ever. No, this is attainable, right? This setting, this situation is very attainable, right? Again, Kellen is off the charts good looking and he plays in this rock band, but those are both things that it's like, yeah, like there's beautiful people who play in rock bands, no doubt about it, okay? And also, Kellen and Kira aren't socially misaligned, right? I think about, our 50 Shades stories or, any of those billionaire romances where it's like the girl is just, a middle-class normal person and she falls in love with a billionaire. I'm sorry, but I don't feel like most billionaires are gonna associate with somebody that's below them in class. That's just like, no judgment, but it's true, okay? Like, there's very few billionaires who are gonna associate with a middle class person. And so with Kellen and Kira, they're not socially misaligned, right? They're both just people. They're both just people, right? Kira's a student, Kellen's in a band. It's not like Kellen has a whole bunch of money. It's not like Kira has a whole bunch of money. It's not like, oh, well, we're living in this guy's like fancy penthouse apartment and, he's just throwing money at me and wooing me with cash and luxury. Like, no, there's none of that. Right? They live in a small house. They have matchbox bedrooms. They're very normal people. They're very normal people. That, once again, it feels very attainable. It feels like this is real. This is happening somewhere. This is happening somewhere. It doesn't feel like, oh yeah, like this is like a dream boat book, right? It also doesn't feel like, oh, Kira's just falling in love with him because he's wooing her with money and luxury, right? It doesn't feel like Kira is some gold digger because Kellen is super successful and right and has all these things. Like, Kellen lives a very simple lifestyle. Kellen lives an incredibly simple lifestyle. It even mentions it in the book where it's like he doesn't even have like he doesn't have a phone, he doesn't have technology, he doesn't have anything, right? He literally just lives in his little house and writes songs. So these are people that live very simple lifestyles. It feels real. It feels like, yes, this is happening. You know, it's not like one of them, it's not superficial in any way, it's materialistic in any way, right? No, he's charming and good looking and she's sweet. And so there's this connection, there's an actual relationship being built that isn't, you know, oh, I'm so impressed by him because he has all this money and he's super like he's a genius that built this billion-dollar company. Like, that's not what it is. That's not what it is at all. So yes, this book, it like reprogrammed my brain and it rewrote my brain chemistry and it like broke me down and put me back together in such a way where I will now no longer settle for anything less than Kel and Kyle. That's not true, but the bar has risen and the bar has been quite high for a while. Yes, this is just a romance novel, right? And all 3 books, okay, there's 3 books in the Thoughtless series. There's more, right? There's like little one-offs and stuff like that, but these are the 3 that it's like, yeah, right? These are just romance novels, but these are characters that actually stuck with me. Okay, once again, just all of the things that I just mentioned, all of the different elements of these books, of this book, they made me really connect to the characters. I mean, I read this book first, like the first time I read this book was years ago, and it was like, these characters have stuck with me, okay? I still think about these characters. I still think about this book. I've reread this book a number of times, and it's just because these characters and this situation and this story was developed in such a way, like I said, where it feels real. It feels attainable. It feels like, oh yeah, this is happening in some capacity. And so it doesn't feel like it's inauthentic or fake. It just feels like a really well-developed story and really well-developed characters. And yeah, it's one of those stories that it's like, this is going to stick with me. And there's this connection that's built between me and the characters. It's not just, oh, I'm looking in. It feels like, oh no, like we're pals, right? We're pals now. So yeah, I absolutely adore Thoughtless by S.C. Stevens. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you equally as obsessed with Kel and Kyle as I am? I mean, honestly. And Kira, like, I don't hate her. I don't hate her. There have been so many female characters where it's like, I cannot stand you. Like, honestly, I cannot stand you. You're back and forth. You're all these things. Obviously, there's moments in the story where it's like, oh my word, Kira, like, grow a pair. But that's part of her character, right? That's part of her character. It doesn't feel like this misalignment in characteristics. It literally feels like, no, this is who she is, right? She's very hesitant. And so while there are definitely moments in the story where it's like, man, I'm not really fond of you right now, for both of them, you always, like, you know who they are and you continue liking them and you continue loving them. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. I would be very interested to see and hear if you have been reprogrammed like me with, wow, what an incredible story, okay? And you better believe I will be talking about the other 2 books in the Thoughtless series. I can't talk about this one and not talk about the other 2 because that would be a tragedy. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.